Mary had a little lamb. She also had a duck. She put him on the mantelpiece to see if they would cut the crap, Salvo. Fall off.
Hey guys, Operator Drewski here, and today we're going to be talking about the ArmA 3 Apex expansion. Now, this is an expansion that I've covered a lot on my channel. You guys know that I've gone over every vehicle, every weapon, every piece of gear and all that over ArmA 3 Apex, and there's definitely a lot of new stuff that is to be covered in a review for ArmA 3 Apex. And that's why in this video I'm not really doing this in a script, but I'm kind of going over a review of ArmA 3 Apex, and as well as my thoughts over ArmA 3 Apex, the expansion itself, and the entire series of ArmA in itself, in a nutshell. So that is why I'm kind of doing this unscripted, and so I can just kind of discuss with you guys what my thoughts are, and as well as what other popular YouTubers' thoughts are, what my friends' thoughts are about ArmA 3 Apex, and just how we feel about it. Now, let me just say, I played ArmA 3 Apex in the dev branch before I played it in the full version, and I've already kind of played it in the full version now and seen that it's pretty dang similar to the dev branch version that I played earlier, and also the sneak peek version, and I can pretty much confirm that nothing has really changed from the dev branch to the actual release, other than I think an in-game game mode, some more cinematics for the campaign, and that's pretty much it. So with that in mind, we go look at the the good spots of Apex. Now, Tanoa, the new map for ArmA 3 Apex, is a beautiful jungle map. It has a sprawling, diverse terrain that is one of the most creative terrains I've ever seen in an ArmA game. Honestly, Sarani from ArmA 1 was probably my highlight, the best map that I have ever played on in a game. Sarani was definitely my favorite just because it was just a beautiful map. I can't really explain it without you actually seeing it, so I'll probably put a picture, a few clips of it right here. A beautiful map with big open environments that didn't have really too many objects, and I still actually with my Milsim clan play on that map every now and then today just because I like it so much and it runs at such high frame rates. Also, ArmA 2's Chernarus was a big highlight from ArmA 2. I do think that that was the best map ever, like in any video game. Although Sarani is my personal highlight, I feel like the most power, the most dedication was put into Chernarus out of any map ever in a video game. That map was beautiful. And then we go to ArmA 3, which had Altus and Stratus. I was okay with those. And then Tanoa, I don't exactly like jungle maps, but this was a jungle map. I mean, this was a 10 out of 10 from Bohemia. You did an amazing job making a jungle map. There's very diverse locations. There's mining quarries. There's gigantic cities. There's small villages. It is also very large. There's so many little tiny islands and swamps that I haven't even found yet that I'm like, whoa, I haven't seen this place yet. There's lots of new stuff that isn't even going to be discovered for a long time that is within Tanoa.
It's like better infantry versus infantry combat, because just playing Wasteland for 10 minutes, going to go do an objective, regardless of, the AIs wearing still Stratus or Altus gear, the tan gear, I was having difficulty just finding them, and in a situation where it's just me versus them, it's really intense.
Once we're done kind of looking over that, we go into the weapons, the vehicles, and the units that are, just pretty much the stuff, the add-ons that are in ArmA 3 Apex that make the experience a little bit different. Now, we do get the introduction of thermal fighting, which is what I call it, where, both CSAT and NATO now have thermal vision goggles, as well as having thermal-proof suits, which is pretty crazy as well. Lots of different stuff in those packs of gear and weapons and such. There's a 50 cal underbarrel to one of the Type 115, which is a assault rifle for the special ops on the CSAT side. There's lots of very creative weapons. There's also the introduction of older guns like AK-47s, AKMs, as well as AK, like a little short stubby AK. There's HK-416s, HK-417s. There's a few snipers on both sides. Lots of cool stuff from both sides. And I gotta give the weapons a pretty good rating as well, because the weapons are pretty well made. It's Bohemia Interactive. Whenever they make weapons, it's a lot of a polished experience whenever you're using them. The sounds are the weakest part of the weapons, I think. The 5.56 weapons are very just pewy. They sound like little airsoft guns when I fire them. A 223 in real life has a big, loud noise coming from it. An AK has a very loud noise coming. A 50 cal has a very loud noise from it. and I still feel like they haven't really gone far enough with the weapon sound effects to really make it sound like a real battle. JSRS or any of those sound mods, the Dragonfire or whatever, usually can make it better of an experience and make it more sound like realistic weapons. But especially being a guy who is in Demo Ranch all the time, I can definitely know that the weapon sound effects are not really realistic. It's those sound effects that I usually explain, and I usually call them Call of Duty sound effects, where in like Call of Duty, I think, what was it? Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. It's like they're just kind of splattery. They just kind of they sound weak. They sound like little tiny firecrackers going off, and that's it. Bad Company 1, or maybe even Bad Company 2, I can't really remember exactly which Battlefield it was, but Battlefield Bad Company 1 had the best sound effects, in my opinion, of any shooter out there. Very realistic gun sounds, definitely recorded raw and put into the game raw, because they were just beautiful gun sound effects that had echoes, had atmospheric sounds going around your headset as you fired the weapon. It was awesome. But that's the weapons. The vehicles are awesome. The VTOLs are really cool, how you can go into vertical flight, and also, you know, the normal flight, you can turn vectoring on and off. The light strike vehicles are pretty fun as well. I always kind of thought that was an empty spot in ArmA, where you didn't really have any balance between an off-road and a hunter. You never really had anything between that, kind of like a half military vehicle, but also a faster one than the hunter, big fat armored hunter. I really disliked the fact that you could have something like a hunter versus infantry kind of fights, which was really, really bad. Whenever you had a hunter with an HMG on the top, you couldn't really fight it. It was a 50 cal sniper rifle that could shoot fully automatically with no recoil from super long ranges. That was kind of unbalanced in my opinion, and I do think that if light strike vehicles were brought into the vanilla game instead of things like hunters and ifrits, it would have been a little bit more balanced overall of gameplay. Then we go into the units, and the units are pretty cool. As we talked about the gear, the new weapons and stuff, it kind of goes into the co-op campaign now. The co-op campaign was 7 episodes long, 7 missions long. And I talked with this with a few of my buddies, and one of the commenters on my YouTube channel actually said, Drewski, do you think that these 7 missions could have been made in a week? And I said, okay, if you're not talking about the cinematics or the storyline elements, all the audio that they had to record and stuff. And I said, are you talking about just the scripted missions themselves? And he said, yeah, just the scripted missions. I said, if you spent, a good 7 hours on each one of these missions every day, you could have completed them in a 7-day week. I honestly said, if you spent a good 6 to 7 hours on these missions, you could have completed one per day, made it in a week. Now, there are modded missions out there that are amazing. I gotta admit, Capture the Island. There is even King of the Hill, for example. Just simple sector control missions that are or fan made, and they're just pretty much mods to the game. Not mods, but you know what I mean. That are fan made and are amazing. And these missions were just basic editing that had to go into these missions, and they just brought in some also voice acting, which was a lot better than the original ArmA 3 campaign. It also brought in voice acting that was a lot more effective at portraying actual real-life people.
Hey, Truck.
What?
He kind of looks like you.
Fuck off, Sal.
And that was pretty much it. Some of the missions were pretty fun. Some of them were extremely shallow or extremely repetitive, and just kind of grindy. The very end mission, sorry, I'm kind of pausing for a second because this isn't scripted, so I'm kind of just thinking this as I say it. The end mission, for example, had Viper Team come on at the very end, and you had to defend the earthquake device. That was the same exact device and the same exact kind of story plot that was used in the Eastern Wind, which was the campaign beforehand that we've already all played from ArmA 3 Vanilla. Now, I'm not really an ArmA 3 single-player guy. Let me just say that. I played the single-player ArmA 2. I enjoyed it a lot better than ArmA 3's single-player. But in ArmA 3, I played the single-player once, and I was like, all right, that was a filler. I was bored over the summer. I had no internet for a week. I played the ArmA 3 campaign. Liked it. It was all right. It was okay. It had a lot of downfalls in some parts. I had a lot of good spots. ArmA 3 Apex definitely did better. I gotta admit, definitely did better. But there are missions out there that are fan-made, that are created by mods, or modders, whatever, that are a little bit better than that. Story missions, missions that have special operations things happening. like ArmA 3 Apex. They were overall better than a standard ArmA 3 Apex mission. For example, I put a video up called Ambush on my channel, which was a simple ArmA 3 Apex mission, which I think people must have clicked on it thinking that it was a campaign mission. I definitely said it was a fan-made mission at the very start of the video, but a lot of people, like, that got like 30,000 views or something, which was a ton for me. But that mission, for example, was a fan-made modded mission, and that mission was pretty much as fun, if I didn't mess up in the mission a ton, was pretty much as fun as one of the cooperative missions that Bohemia Interactive made. And that mission probably took that guy 4 hours. I would say probably 4 hours. It just set up some simple triggers. You go and investigate an ambush. You walk into an area. It triggers an ambush to happen. Ambush comes and gets you. Once you complete the objective, it triggers another little objective to pop up. That objective tells you to go to the fort that those guys came from. You go take down the fort. You find some weapons. That's the end of the mission. That was a very mirrored mission to what actually happened in like the cooperation cooperation campaign, where cooperative campaign. Sorry, I can't speak. Where you work with friends to find, what happened to these guys, and then you go and you fight the CSAT guys. And it's like at the very end of the campaign, it just ended with a really weird note. Like the campaign is honestly the weakest part of Apex in my opinion, where 7 missions, very dynamic in terms of like excitement and fun, serious fun within them. And then the very end, you find the, earthquake device and you go, all right, we got it. It's in good hands now. Boom. Story's over. That's all you get. Like you were fighting gorillas for 4 missions. Then the last 3 missions, you barely ever see CSAT. You see Viper Team in 1 mission. You see CSAT soldiers in the next mission. Then you see Viper Team barely again. You see 1 VTOL fly over. Actually, in the campaign, you never even flew a VTOL. You never even in a new vehicle, I think, other than maybe a light strike vehicle at some point. I don't even remember. But you walk up at the end of a mission to a NATO VTOL. Then at the very end of the campaign, you see a single like CSAT VTOL kind of just calmly fly over. It was really confusing, and it was awkward. I think that ArmA has never really been amazing for single player because the editing, the modding capabilities have to be, I guess, user-friendly, and they have to therefore be simple, and so the missions do have to be simple, but it was broken, in my opinion. The missions were very simple, and some of them were fun. Some of the ones where you had to escape Viper Team, for example, was definitely a highlight. That one was like so terrifying, where both Syndicate and Viper Team were coming after you. That was a very exciting one. But that was the only mission I honestly easily can remember. And that's not what I thought the ArmA 3 co-op campaign would be. I thought it would be a campaign that was replayable, that was awesome and fun to play. But it ended up being a campaign that I was like, about. Another thing I wanted to note as well is that in the trailer for ArmA 3 Apex that came out just yesterday, it showed like some guys shooting above a car. It showed AI units, or I don't even know if they were AI or not, but it showed animations that you cannot even do in ArmA 3 in a normal fight. You don't see AI even using cover that efficiently, and you don't ever see AI like intelligently kind of setting up defensive positions behind cars or something. Honestly, the AI are one of the main cons I have about ArmA 3, and there was AI doing things that they can't even do in-game in this cinematic. There was, a guy with a rifle that was shooting, just kind of blind firing above a truck, and if you look at ArmA 3 AI, they don't even do that. That was just an animation. That doesn't actually happen within the game, and seeing that right then, like trying to portray really intelligent AI that are really, really scary and lifelike and such, and then going into the ArmA 3 campaign and having to kill guys that were really, really awkward to fight. Like if you watched my live stream of me fighting the Tanoan gorillas or whatever, it was a very awkward experience having to fight these guys who would either pinpoint shoot you from a mile away or they wouldn't even see you walking up behind them. There he is. Is he armed? Oh, what? No, he's not armed. Crap. Is this a trap? Treat Snatcher. What What's in your backpack? No, I want to see what's in... Sir, let me see what's in your backpack. What, do you have a gun in there? What's in your backpack? He had a gun on him. What the... Interesting. Interesting. He had a gun on him somehow. He just didn't have it on him. Well, we got the Snatcher guy. I seriously walked right up behind one of the AIs in the last mission, and it wasn't even that dark nighttime. I was under a street light. I had my thermal vision on. I'm looking the other direction. I turn around, and I'm seriously back to back with an AI, and the AI did not even see me. He didn't even detect me until I shot him in the foot to test if he was even a friendly or not, because I would have been able to heal him if I shot him in the foot. So I shot him in the foot. It wasn't a friendly. He turns around, and he looks straight at me and doesn't shoot me. I was too close to him that he didn't even want to shoot. I don't even know how to explain it. But the bugginess, the weird glitchiness of ArmA 3 AI are just not on par with that trailer. And it's almost to the point, as I would say, false advertising. I'm not disappointed with Apex. I am very happy that something new was added to ArmA 3. Let me just say again, I'm not disappointed with Apex, but I'm just kind of disappointed with the fact that this is where ArmA 3 is, and this is how ArmA 3 is going to end. It was a great game. It was. It took a long time for me to really get used to it, me to learn all the mechanics of it, and I love the game for how just deep and in-depth it can really be. But when you go into ArmA 3, you know, Apex, you're expecting something that's better quality than a mod. But it seems that it's, in my opinion, on par with the same amount of fun, with the same amount of content that you're gonna get from a mod. And it just is another reminder to me that this is time to maybe see if there's other developers moving on to a game series like this that would be better than Bohemia. I honestly think that, you know, if we all kind of support the fact that, hey, if a developer moves on to, you know, military sims just like Bohemia, that might be kind of cool, then we could get a developer to actually do that, to actually get into that market, because maybe there is a growing market for another developer to take a shot at something like ArmA. And those are pretty much my thoughts. I honestly, that's how I feel about ArmA 3 Apex. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I thought it was a pretty cool DLC, but again, not the best, not what I expected. So guys, that is my review for ArmA 3 Apex. If you guys liked the video, like it down in the little like button down below. If you disliked it, dislike it, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Oh, hello, friend!
You made it!
No, this can't happen. No!
Yeah, get him, buddy!
Contact, man! 20!
Oh my god! It's going down! Oh god!